More AEW talent reportedly requested their release from the company. Saraya is not medically cleared to compete, and we've got an update on the potential AEW UK show, so stay tuned. So cast your minds back a few weeks now when it was reported that WWE had been sending feelers out, contacting people who were in AEW about the possibility of bringing them into WWE. Now, AEW got legal on their asses, and they made some sort of contact. It was breach of contract tampering.
Yeah, it's sort of tampering, so knock it off, basically.
Yeah. But we've got an update on this, and apparently Malachi Black, who was the guy that was rumored at the time to be the one who wanted to leave AEW, and we know a little bit more about that now, but apparently he's not the only one. The Wrestling Observer newsletter is written, when Paul Levesque took over from Vince McMahon, WWE contacted a number of former WWE talents that were working there that had either left on their own or that Vince McMahon had fired. Malachi Black was not the only person to ask for his release at the time. So obviously other people have caught wind of the fact that there's interest from WWE. There's potentially more money on the table. Other people did request their release, according to this report. Others did not ask for their release and were happy with AEW and contacted management, which led to them saying, stop it, cut it out, Paul. So yeah, it was a letter threatening WWE for interference in those contracts. I don't want to sit here and speculate as to who it might be.
But I'm not surprised by it at all. I think, the amount of people that have been through WWE, how many of them were sat there thinking, man, this place would have been awesome, just with somebody else different in charge.
Yeah, for sure. There were people who were probably pretty creatively unsatisfied in the company who have since gone to AEW. Some have been successful. Some, I would suggest, and it's not the talent's fault necessarily, have been a bit disappointing. You could, certainly Malachi Black is one of those. Maybe Miro. I'm not suggesting that Miro's requested his release or anything.
The hype around Malachi Black and the kind of AEW debut, and it was like, this is it, this is what we've been waiting for. And then they just seem to kind of put him on the back burner, and it started really strong, and it's now down to like a trickle. And
yeah, well, absolutely. I think if that is him done in AEW, as reports suggest, I'd be really sad. I just hope he's all right. He released, obviously, quite recently that big statement, so we send our best to Malachi Black. This week saw the AEW debut of Saraya, the former Paige. We've been talking about this quite a lot, but according to this report, once again from the Wrestling Observer newsletter, she, as of very recently, has not been cleared to compete. It's written, there is no answer to the question as to what role she will play, if she will wrestle regularly, sparingly, or not at all. She got an enormous surprise pop, but these types of things that always get that reaction. Pops and surprises are cool, but their long-term value is nil if they cost a lot of money. If she's going to wrestle and can go at her prior level, she will be a good addition, but it was notable in her run-in that she didn't touch anyone, and with WWE, not only was she not allowed to wrestle, but nobody was allowed to touch her. She wasn't allowed to get physical at all in WWE. We were told that she had not been cleared as of very recently, which would explain not touching anyone, but would like to be cleared. She's made that very, very obvious. She's talked a lot about how she's desperate to get back in the ring. She's refereeing for the WAW promotion, her family's promotion, very, very soon. I think she's probably a very expensive get if she can't be physical at all.
I think as well, though, I don't think you can have her come in and debut and then there and then in that moment go, but I'll not be competing. So it's sort of... It would be something I feel we might, if it is the case, then it might be addressed the next time we see her. But I feel that, yeah, for the amount that it's surely cost to get Saraya in, you think there's got to be maybe something more there bubbling along.
And we talked about it this morning, but it already feels like she's starting beef proper with Britt Baker and that something's happening there. The only way I guess you can get round that is if then Saraya recruits people and she's managing them.
She could kind of lead people.
She could do, but she's very pricey, you would imagine, wouldn't you? So we'll see. I hope she does get back in the ring if she's well enough to do so, because it was a really serious thing, obviously, that happened to her. Next up, an update on the potential AEW UK show. Obviously, we've just seen Clash at the Castle.
Yep.
You went. Did you have fun?
Yeah, I had a blast. Mate.
Lovely.
It was great.
Well, you might not have to wait too much longer. Still about a year or so. Right now, it still looks as though next summer is the earliest for a UK debut at Craven Cottage, the home of Fulham, of course. It'd be great to see them here. We've been asking for it for a long time.
Yeah,
it's been hinted at. JR said it was happening.
The venue makes absolute sense with the Khan family links. It's AEW have a fan base over here that desperately wants to see them on these shores. And, most wrestling fans that are out there in the UK, we're so starved of large-scale wrestling events that I think most people will turn up for any major show. So I think that they're looking at a potential massive, massive audience here. You could have quite a big deal of an event in what isn't exactly one of the biggest stadiums going, but I think that having that control over the space and having it really packed to the gills, I think it'll look class.
I would run a Dynamite and a Rampage taping here or something.
I think that would also draw.
Test the waters. And I'm sure it'd be very, very successful and everything. See how quickly those tickets sell, see what they're selling for on the secondary market, and work out what the fan demand is as to whether you run a bigger venue in the future. Next up, we sticking with AEW news. Konosuke Takeshita is a guy who has been praised all over the place recently. This year, it feels like he's one of the people. It's sort of been his year. He did amazing work. A lot of us were introduced to him for the first time this year.
Yeah, he's
as well.
sort of like one of the big open secrets, I guess.
Yeah,
that finally was able to step out onto a large stage in front of a different audience entirely, and really wow them and really capture their attention.
He's amazing, isn't he? There's something very special about that man. An update. It looks like he's going to be heading back to AEW in the not too distant future. While promoting an upcoming match that he's doing over in Japan. It was mentioned on their social media, and which he took control of for the day, I think. I feel like this might be the last match before I go back to the US in October. It feels like the start of a new era in WWE, in DDT, sorry. But I think Higuchi versus Takeshita will bring about a new era in JP Wrestling. I'll bring this title back to AEW. So he's teasing that he might be going between the two, maybe.
Yeah, I'd like to see more back and forth between DDT and AEW. I think there could be a hell of a lot of fun had there.
They've got really talented roster, haven't they? They've got a lot of good people on there.
I kind of want to see one of the big, ridiculous, all over the place outdoor events under an AEW banner. I want to see what they do with it.
I think it'd be fun.
Yeah, hire a huge water park or something. It'd be great.
Well up for that.
Yeah.
I've just recorded a list this morning of 10 craziest places a wrestling show has taken place. I didn't know there was one in a cave.
Yeah, that was fairly recent, wasn't it?
Yeah. Anyway, we are going over to Kushida flavored news now. A brief health update on Kushida. It was earlier reported at the beginning of this week that he would have to be pulled from upcoming shows due to a suspected skin disease. New Japan have now revealed that he's actually been diagnosed with hand, foot, and mouth disease. Pretty horrible stuff. Yeah. So we send him our best. I hope he gets well soon.
Get better and get back out on the road, man.
And if you've been waiting around for an update on those AEW suspensions, you're going to have to wait a bit longer. It's in the Observer here. Nothing has been addressed in AEW. There are no hints regarding if or when the suspension will be over. There's nothing new this week on the Bucks, Kenny, Punk, or Steel.
It's a slow burn situation if they are conducting but if they are conducting an internal investigation, which it seems like they're really taking seriously. We've seen very slowly people removed from the list that were kind of in and around it trying to break it up. They're going to be wanting to get everybody's stories straight. They're going to be comparing them back and forth.
The legal ramifications are huge as well. I think while this is sort of up in the air legally, Tony is playing it sensibly by staying tight-lipped. We've seen him be asked stuff on interviews, and he just sort of dodges the question. He goes on a tangent, tries to get away from it. And that's the sensible thing to do, because otherwise it could end up costing him an awful lot of money. But as soon as we know anything, you'll know anything, of course.
They'll all be back there 9 months' time, fine mates again, guarantee it.
A Steel. Biting people, but I'm not sure about
he'll be
that.
every champ. His finisher is just a bite.
Right. We've got some stuff coming up this weekend. We've got A-list going up, maybe 2 if YouTube chooses to monetize it, because they demonetized it. And we had to delete it last time.
You're nasty.
Sam and I have just recorded a fun little game of Think Words, is it called?
Stressful.
It was very stressful.
So stressful.
And embarrassing
Oh,
as well.
yeah.
We're going to be embarrassed by this.
Oh,
you think
just
you know everything.
And the clock is just loudly ticking at you as you're trying to...
Yeah. Anyway, that's coming up on the channel on Sunday. Have a good weekend, everyone. Stay tuned tomorrow. Sam and Fraser will be back with your Saturday morning news. Enjoy your weekend. All the best.
Yeah. See ya. Bye.